Friday night Hard Rock Casino, where thousands of people gathered seeking excitement, high stakes, and fortune. But tonight, something else was at play. Laughter, flashing lights, and the shuffle of chips drowned out any notion of danger. As chaos erupted, a nightmare unfolded. Moments ago, the casino was packed with life. Now, the air was charged with fear, confusion, and panic. The Hard Rock Casino is a familiar place for so many, a landmark in the city, alive with lights and music every night. But tonight, it became a crime scene. With hundreds of patrons on the floor, police raced to the scene, bracing for an unknown threat. Somewhere in that casino was a shooter who'd turned an ordinary night into a desperate struggle for survival. What drove someone to bring a gun into a place meant for escape and enjoyment? Who was this shooter, and what led to the eruption of violence? As the police entered the chaotic casino floor, a tense search began. This was no ordinary night. Authorities were in a race against time to catch a suspect hiding among the crowds or long gone. It was supposed to be an ordinary night at the Hard Rock Casino. The shooter entered casually, blending into the steady stream of guests. No one knew the man weaving through the rows of tables and slot machines carried anything more dangerous. He didn't stand out until the first shot rang out. Among the crowd that night were people celebrating birthdays, anniversaries, and reunions. For many, it was just a night out, one they would never forget. One victim, a father of two, had come for a rare night of entertainment with friends. Another, a newlywed, had stopped by after a show. Each of them, along with countless others, had their lives forever changed in those terrifying moments. As detectives arrived, they found the scene littered with the aftermath of the shooter's rampage. Bullet casings scattered across the carpet, tables overturned, and glass shattered from patrons' desperate attempts to escape. Using security footage, police pieced together a trail, a haunting path of the shooter's movements, from his calm entrance to his chilling moments on the casino floor. The shooter's path left clues. Authorities found casings from a high-caliber weapon, suggesting he had come prepared for chaos. Every step on the casino's carpet was a reminder of the night's horror and the police's determination to find answers. Evidence slowly began to reveal the shooter's method, but his motive was still a mystery. And while detectives gathered clues, one question haunted the investigation. Why had this man chosen Hard Rock Casino for his violent act? As the shooter's last shot echoed through the casino, police arrived. Officers entered, a scene of terror. Patrons huddled beneath tables, others running toward the exits, and the faint sounds of shock task and was fear, twofold, filling calm the frightened crowd and determine the shooter's whereabouts. But in the sea of faces, questions remained. Had the gunman escaped, or was he hiding among the terrified patrons? With each step, officers assessed the scene, scanning for any trace of the shooter. The search was on, but with so many in panic, identifying the suspect was like finding a needle in a haystack. Once the scene was secured, investigators began their painstaking search for answers. Each bullet casing, every shattered glass, and the smallest detail would be vital in piecing together the shooter's path. One of the first clues was the casino's extensive security system. Hours of footage held the key to understanding how this deadly event unfolded. Detectives began tracing the shooter's steps, analyzing his entry and every movement caught on camera. In the dimly lit footage, they saw him, the man, moving with purpose, blending seamlessly with the crowd before reaching his position. His actions were calculated, his intent clear. Yet there was still much to uncover. Witnesses began recounting the night's events, their words helping to fill in the gaps left by the security footage. Some described a man who seemed oddly calm, while others noticed nothing unusual until the gunshots began. A clearer picture of the shooter began to take shape. Some witnesses remembered his dark clothing, his steady gaze, and his purposeful movements. The details were few, but they would prove essential as investigators worked to build a profile. The hunt was on. Armed with witness accounts, security footage, and physical evidence, the team was closing in on the shooter's identity. Yet with each answer came more questions. Who was this man, and why had he unleashed such terror on a seemingly ordinary night? As the investigation advanced, detectives faced a maze of possibilities. Who was this shooter, and why had he chosen this place and these people? Was this the act of someone with a vendetta, or was it something darker? Early theories pointed in multiple directions. Some wondered if he could be tied to organized crime, an enforcer perhaps, sending a brutal message. Others speculated about a disgruntled employee, someone familiar with the casino and its operations. But there was also the chilling possibility that this was a random attack, an unprovoked act of violence with no clear reason. Each theory seemed as plausible as the next, yet each led to a different kind of suspect. As detectives sifted through potential suspects, they encountered misdirections and dead ends. Each lead seemed to reveal a new layer to the mystery, yet none brought them closer to the truth. One possible lead hinted at robbery, a theory that perhaps the shooter had been planning a heist, but was forced to change plans when things didn't go as expected. Another lead suggested vengeance, a suspect who had lost heavily at the casino, leaving with bitterness that could have driven him to violence. Yet as each promising theory surfaced, it was quickly dismantled. Investigators soon realized they were dealing with someone who had taken great care to leave few traces behind. Then, just as the case seemed to stall, a breakthrough emerged. Cell phone records placed a suspect near the casino at the time of the attack, while social media accounts revealed recent messages suggesting hidden motives. This new information painted a troubling picture of a man with a complex history, a loner who had expressed anger and frustration in cryptic posts, hinting at a desire to make his mark in a way that no one could ignore. With this new evidence, detectives felt the pieces of the puzzle starting to fall into place. They now had not only a clearer profile of the shooter, but also hints of a motive. Yet, despite these breakthroughs, one question lingered. Why here and why now? After weeks of testimony, tearful accounts, and evidence laid bare, the day of judgment finally arrived. The shooter was found guilty, his sentence a reminder that justice, though delayed, would not be denied. For the families, the verdict brought relief but could not undo the pain. A chapter had closed, yet the scars remained. In the days following the trial, the families of those lost tried to rebuild their lives. Each day carried reminders of what was taken: a father who would never come home, a friend who left too soon, a life cut short by senseless violence. The casino, too, would never be the same. Hard Rock Casino, once a place of laughter and dreams, had become a symbol of tragedy. New security measures were introduced, metal detectors installed at every entrance, and armed guards stationed to prevent another nightmare. For the community, the impact was profound. Where once there was a sense of safety and joy, there was now caution, an awareness of danger in places once deemed harmless. The casino and the city alike were forced to confront a new reality. Even with the verdict, questions remained. Could this tragedy have been prevented? Were there warning signs overlooked? In the aftermath, These questions became part of a larger conversation on public safety, casino security, and the unseen threats in everyday life. For the families, for Hard Rock Casino, and for the entire community, the legacy of that night would endure, a reminder of lives lost, of the fragility of peace, and of the resilience needed to rebuild. As the community mourned and began to heal, Hard Rock Casino and its patrons moved forward with caution, yet with determination. The tragedy was a dark chapter, but the resilience of those affected, their resolve to find peace, would leave a lasting impact. In the end, the question of safety remains. For the families, the community, and for all who come to places like these, the memory of that night serves as both a warning and a call to remember the lives lost, the lessons learned, and the strength found in the face of loss. In the aftermath of senseless violence, lives are forever altered. For the families who lost loved ones, for the patrons and staff who endured that horrific night, the scars will remain long after the lights of Hard Rock Casino fade. These moments of tragedy remind us of the fragile safety we often take for granted in public spaces. They urge us to question our security, our vigilance, and the quiet danger that can be lurking even where we feel most at ease. As we reflect on these events, we must ask ourselves, how can we protect each other in a world where violence can strike without warning? And what steps must we take to ensure that no family, no community, has to endure the loss that so many faced that night? This tragedy may have reached its end, but there are countless stories still untold, stories of mystery, of lives changed forever, and of justice pursued. Join us next time as we uncover another case, a tale of danger, deception, and the search for truth in the shadows. If you found this story compelling, remember to like and subscribe. There are many more stories to tell, mysteries to uncover, and lives to remember. Join us as we continue to bring you the stories that matter.